Welcome once more, again, to another video podcast of Alexandra Mayers Live Painting Edition. Today is going to be a little bit of a politically themed painting. And as I paint, normally you don't see me when I'm doing my art podcast, but today I figured, hey, what the hell, I'll let y'all see me. But today's gonna be politically themed in regards to the painting. It's gonna have to do a bit with my thoughts when it comes to the El Paso and Dayton, Ohio shootings. Those shootings have made me very upset. I've been frustrated with just about every element of my life since those shootings, because just every single theme that surrounds what led up to those shootings has to do with issues that I have talked about for years. I've just spoken at such great length when it comes to the underlying current of racism within America today. And I've dealt with it firsthand, and now we are witnessing in the news quite a historical juncture at this point. It's just horrific what we're witnessing. And I don't understand how this current political administration is not just being overturned. You know, what is Nancy Pelosi holding back on now? Because she could actually supersede some of these things that she's asking for a vote on. So I'm just going to keep watching the news. And for those of you who are not aware, I'm starting a new podcast called Political News Time. I've been meaning to get the first episode put together and posted for about a week now, but I just haven't been in the right state of mind to do it, but now I am. So look for that, politicalnewstime.com, and make sure that you do follow me on @alexmayerslive.com. But yeah, what really made me upset today upon looking at the news has to do with the fact that for no more than show, and from my perception, an effort to intimidate the people of these cities, Trump had the nerve to go to Dayton and to El Paso. Those communities don't want to look at him. Why is he going? Why did he go? What was the point? It's him going to those cities is akin to like, I don't know, a mass murderer murdering people. Everyone knows it's a mass murderer. For some reason, he doesn't, have to face any kind of legalities because he has some sort of special privilege. In this case, Trump and white privilege. But then he's going to go and just hang out at the scene of the crimes where the families are grieving. Does any of that make any sense to anybody? Because it sure doesn't make any sense to me. And the people of El Paso, from what I see in the news, they made it known. They're like, hey, he's really not welcome here. They're kind of telling him, hey, get out our house. And he's still going. He just decided, fuck it, I'll do what I want. That's what this is. A case of a jerk who really does believe that he can do whatever he freaking wants. Yeah. So that makes me upset. I'm really excited for this upcoming presidential election. Definitely am. That's part of the reason why I decided to put together my upcoming podcast, Political News Time, because this crop of Democratic candidates are very interesting people. For those of you who may be wondering, my political affiliation as of current is that of being a Democrat. Because, if you got to pick the lesser of two evils, Democrats the way to go. It really is. Now I see that people are chatting, so As I'm painting, I'm not going to pay too much attention to the chat, but I'll try to talk about whatever it is that y'all are talking about. But yeah, these political candidates who are coming up, they're exciting people, at least on the Democratic side. They're good people for the most part. I am incredibly impressed with Marianne Williamson. She should be president. Okay? Marianne Williamson should be president. If I was in charge of the world, she would be the next American president. For those of you who are not aware, Marianne Williamson, and you can follow her on Twitter. I believe her Twitter account is @MarWilliamson, but she was the spiritual advisor to Oprah Winfrey. So her running for president, in a weird way, is Oprah running for president. Okay? So it's a long shot, but I've just decided I'm going to put my energy behind her because I do like Elizabeth Warren too. Now, Elizabeth Warren, I think, has a very good chance of becoming president. So, I'm not even going to be negative because I think Marianne Williamson should be it. But I would like to see a 2020 political ticket of Elizabeth Warren, vice president, Marianne Williamson, president. Because the energy of such a ticket is one of the only things that could feasibly undo all of the horrific trauma, dark psychic force of this Trump administration. Because they are the opposite of Trump and Pence. Warren and Williamson. WW. Women. The whole thing is just WW. Yeah. Girl power. So I would like to see that. That's what I want to see. I am just going to support Marianne Williamson all the way. If something happens, then I'll have to support Elizabeth Warren. And I'm not against supporting Elizabeth Warren because Elizabeth Warren is saying a lot of things that really have needed to be said when it comes to the racism. I was actually quite surprised that she has been as aggressive in regards to eradicating the racism in the world as she has been. I was shocked. But both of these women are women from Texas. And that's something too. I grew up in Texas. Texas women are women that you don't really want to mess with too much. So, yeah, don't mess with Texas and don't mess with Texas women.
Donald Trump says hate has no place in this country. Donald Trump has created plenty of space for hate. He is a racist. He has made one racist remark after another. He has put in place racist policies, and we've seen the consequences of it. Hate crimes are up around this country, and people who are hateful feel like they are now empowered. They are protected. They celebrate this president. This has turned America in a terrible direction, and Donald Trump keeps it going. And let's be clear, a Republican Congress, Republican leadership in Washington, they got nothing to say about it. And that means they just help strengthen it. They help it keep moving right along.
Well, you mentioned...
I like Elizabeth Warren. I really do. There's a lot of things. She's very spunky. You can just tell, I think she would kick some ass if needed. I'll tell you who might need to punch, someone's going to say I'm inciting violence if I say this, so I better not. But if we were all eternally in high school, right? If Beto O'Rourke and Donald Trump were in high school, there would probably be a street fight today behind the school between Trump and O'Rourke, and O'Rourke would beat the living hell out of Trump. Because I was actually very surprised to see O'Rourke come out as he's come out over the past few weeks when it comes to him definitely labeling beyond a shadow of a doubt Trump as being a white supremacist and a racist. I was surprised that O'Rourke came out as he did, but I have my thoughts, my personal thoughts as to why he did. I think because O'Rourke has done everything right in his entire life. Okay? And that can be that's a very hard thing to do. You know, to always do everything right, always be politically correct, always, put forth your best face. He has done everything that a guy such as him should do, especially being a white American male. He's done everything he should have done in order to run for president and potentially become president, right? So as he's looking at the dark psychic force that is Trump, and he's witnessing all these actions that Trump is taking, it doesn't quite compute in his mind. He's kind of like, why does he get to do all this kind of shit and I've always been perfect? Why is he being rewarded for being bad? That's what O'Rourke is basically, that's how I read his frustration as registering, really. I think that's what it is. And he's pissed because he knows damn well that in white world, you weren't supposed to say or do a lot of this crap that Trump is doing, but Trump is doing it. And O'Rourke is like, no, this is not the reality that is supposed to be.
Because during one of the debates, your 2020 opponent, Governor Jay Inslee of Washington, said that President Trump is a, quote, white nationalist. That was a fairly stark accusation. Do you agree with that? Do you think President Trump is a white nationalist?
Yes, I do. And again, from some of the record that I just recited to you, the things that he has said, both as a candidate and then as the President of the United States, this cannot be open for debate. And you, as well as I, have a responsibility to call that out, to make sure that the American people understand what is being done in their name by the person who holds the highest position of public trust in this land. He does not even pretend to respect our differences or to understand that we are all created equal. He is saying that some people are inherently defective or dangerous, reminiscent of something that you might hear in the Third Reich, not something that you expect in the United States of America, based on their religion, based on their sexual orientation, based on their immigration status, based on the countries that they come from, calling those in Africa shithole nations, and saying that he'd like to have more immigration from Nordic countries, the whitest place on planet Earth today. So again, let's be very clear about what is causing this and who the president is. He is an open, avowed racist and is encouraging more racism in this country. And this is incredibly dangerous for the United States of America right now. All of us have a responsibility to stand up and be counted on this issue.
So, I think Trump is scared of O'Rourke because O'Rourke actually he's in a very powerful position when it comes to addressing the racism, simply because he's a white American male, okay? I wasn't a fan of O'Rourke until the past couple of days because he is handling this El Paso situation properly. Since I've been messing with my webcam and everything a few hours ago and whatnot, I haven't checked the news, so the way the news is going, who knows? Maybe there was a street fight between O'Rourke and Trump at this moment, I hope not. But Trump's scared of O'Rourke because O'Rourke is one of the few who can really say some things about Trump that other people wouldn't be able to say. I think that's why Trump bullied him on Twitter earlier today. I wasn't surprised, but it's like, really? So you're going to be going to the scene of the crime that basically you enabled, Trump, El Paso and Dayton, and on your way there, you're going to bully a man who's a part of that community, El Paso. I think O'Rourke is like from El Paso, or he lives in El Paso or something. So, you know, it's like, you know what I think? I think Trump's trying to incite violence in El Paso today. That's what I think. I think he wants there to be an incident that's manifested by his presence. That's what I think. I don't like Biden. I did before. I liked him before, but I don't like him now, and I'll tell you why. Because he already basically got to be president. I mean, vice president is still, you know, it's not president, but it's kind of the president. He was vice president for 8 years. So why does he want to be president now? Why does he still need to be in the White House? What is this about? Was it not enough for him to be vice president? Because that's pretty good. If I was vice president, I'd be like, yeah, I'm vice president. That's great. All right. You know, and then he got 4 more years. He's like, yeah, I'm vice president again. But now he wants to be president. Someone else needs to be president. And I feel like if he was not running for president, I think that it would have been more likely that Michelle Obama would have run for president. But I think that Michelle isn't running for president because, you know, she's friends with Joe Biden and everything. And she knows he's, you know, got an ego and he really wants to be president. You know, and I'm just going to say it. I'm going to tell you why I don't like Biden. And I could be wrong in my thought about this, okay? I could be wrong. I wonder if he wants to be president because he maybe had a problem with being vice president under a black man. Just saying. Just saying. And I was not thinking that until the incident of how he greeted Kamala Harris at the start of that debate, calling her kid. I didn't like that. Kid? Really? She's your peer, asshole. It makes me wonder, like, does he refer to President Barack Obama as kid? That's like calling somebody boy. No. So, I will not be voting for him. No. I don't like him. He's just... I think that... I'm suspicious of him being someone who is racist and doesn't realize that they're racist, really. That's how I feel about him. So, just a thought. Who else can we talk about? I'm like barely painting. I'm just talking. But you know what? I haven't done a podcast in a really long time. And I figured I better do one today. And I had such a hard time getting this one started. So, let me just chat it up. But yeah, who else can we talk about? Pete, I don't really know how to pronounce his last name. That's not good of me. Buttigieg? Buttigieg? I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Pete, but y'all know who I'm talking about. I like him. I do. I like him. So, I need to learn a little bit more about him, but I really liked a few of the things that he had to say in regards to racism. I think that he does get it and understand it. I believe he was in the military at some point. I do like candidates who have a bit of military experience, if possible. It's not a requirement for me. I was never in the military or anything. I should have gone into the military, though, when I really think about it. Because I do have a certain kind of personality. I don't know why I didn't. I really hadn't even thought of that as an option, you know? But, I think going into the military can be a good idea. You know, I do feel bad for the people who end up with PTSD after they go to war and everything. I can relate to the PTSD after war because, as many of you know, I worked in an area or a sect of entertainment that definitely left me with a certain level of certain feelings. I wouldn't say that my feelings are as extreme as that of someone who's gone to war, but I can relate to certain things on a certain level. I really can. But yeah, I like him. I definitely like him. Kamala Harris. I wouldn't be upset if she became president. But you would think I would like her, wouldn't you? You would think that I would like her. But it's something about her I don't like. I don't feel like saying anything overly negative about her today. Because I do like that she does come off as a woman of action. She was correct in her words just recently, as she said, what was she talking about? There was a clip of her talking about how if she were the current president, as soon as these shootings occurred, she wouldn't have waited until like 10 a.m. on Monday to make a statement. She would have, you know, called a media conference and addressed this mess right away. So I do like that about her. When I look at her history, though, as a judge, I wonder about some things when it comes to who she is. And when I look at things that have been publicly reported about her personal life. But she is better than our current political leaders, all of them, hands down. She's better than them all. So, you know, if it came down to me having to vote for Kamala Harris, I would. But I just like Marianne Williamson and Elizabeth Warren more than I like her. I can't really... there's a few things about Kamala that... Being a South Floridian, and she's not from South Florida, not to my knowledge, but there's just a few things about her that make her not overly appealing to me. But that's just me. I know she considers herself black, but I'll leave it at that. Cory Booker. Cory Booker. For some reason, he freaks me out, and I don't know why. I really don't know. Well, I do know why. I'm horrible. I shouldn't even talk about politics because I'm not sure if I should say certain things, but I feel like I'm not the only one who thinks certain things, so I am going to say it, okay? I have a hard time with Cory Booker because it's like okay, I'll say it. He's like a bad version of Obama. Because at first you expect him to be a bit more Obama-like. Because why? Well, you know, black guy. You would just think, but he's nothing like Obama. Nothing. And I mean, I guess people should say to me, like, why would you expect him to be like Obama? Why? Just because he's black? Yes. Yes. But first off, I think that he should grow a little bit of hair. Okay? Secondly, and I'm just talking aesthetics first, okay? He might want to consider wearing glasses instead of contact lenses because, like myself, I have one weak eye, okay? I think Cory Booker does too. So sometimes when he takes pictures and he's talking, he looks a little crazy. So if you wore glasses, it would make a huge difference. I think he should do that. Whoever his wife or girlfriend is, or whoever his life partner is, needs to suggest that. Now let's talk about how he presents. It seems like sometimes he has a hard time constructing his ideas into words as he's conveying certain messages, you know, right? So I think that he does need to work on his public speaking a little bit more, because when he gets passionate, everything just flows. But you can tell when he's like thinking of certain key argument points, he has a little bit of trouble. So that's why he does need to work on that, you know, find someone to work with him on that or something, right? I think that I don't like how he constantly feels the need to link his African American heritage to his politics. Okay, we all look at him and obviously he's a black man. But see, I think the reason that he feels the need to do so, not just because he's trying to, you know, I guess stick to his roots and everything, but I think that because he's a very fair complexioned black man, maybe some people have wondered, is he black? Well, don't worry, Cory Booker. The people who will actually be voting for you, we all know that you're black. You don't have to consistently remind us that you live in the African American community, okay? I think that he's a little too, like, if he, I don't think he really wants to win. Because if he really wanted to win, he wouldn't be so extreme when it comes to certain things that could make or break him winning or losing. So I've enjoyed getting to know Cory Booker. I hope that we see more of Cory Booker. I think that he's not quite ready to run for president yet. I think he would be perhaps in 2028, 2032. Not now. Not now. That's how I feel about that. So, anyways, I haven't done very much on this painting. Let's see what y'all are chatting about. You know, and I'm glad people still like Bernie. Someone's saying that they still like Bernie. That's great. You know, I like Bernie too. I do like Bernie too. But I think that he's only running because he feels like, you know, fuck it, just to put it in y'all's face, I'm gonna run. Ha ha ha. To me, he doesn't, like, even if he doesn't win, he's still going to be an activist. He's still going to be politically present. He's still going to write the legislation. He's going to do all that because that is just who he is, and he does not know how to stop. Okay? I want a woman president. After everything that we're going through, I need a woman president. So I actually feel that all the males on the Democratic side need to drop out now. Let it be about Marianne Williamson, Elizabeth Warren, and even Kamala Harris. I'll give that to her. Let it be about them. All the guys drop out. That's what I want. That's what I want. I wouldn't mind even a Marianne Williamson president, Kamala Harris vice president ticket. I would be okay with that. That would be okay. But I want Oprah's spiritual leader to be president because America needs a bit of spiritual leadership at this stage. And you know, it's interesting. I noticed that there have been some people who are like, oh, you know, America, you know, why should spirituality and morality, you know, tie into politics in America? Well, that's what America was based on. That's why, you know, the Pledge of Allegiance mentions God, and, you know, in a lot of the earlier documents, they're talking about God and everything, because the people who created America, you know, at least publicly, claim to be about God, even though they were, for the most part, very horrible people. So the spiritual mindset of Americans has evolved over the years. You know, we're not just a bunch of Catholics or a bunch of Christians. You have people who follow, you have people who are Jewish, people who follow Islam, Wiccans, some of everything, Buddhists, people who are Hindu, you know, there's a lot of different religions. So I actually think that the American spiritual consciousness has elevated. So as we kind of segue from a third dimensional reality into a fourth dimensional reality, I actually view the internet as a manifestation of what the fourth dimension is. So as we take that walk along that path, we do need someone who is open and proficient in speaking about those themes. And that's who Marianne Williamson is. I don't care what anyone says. So people need to vote for her. People definitely need to vote for her. Because we're in trouble. We're in trouble because Trump, he's just doing stuff, trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do. I think he's just evil. I think he's just plain evil. Very evil person. One thing I don't think people talk about enough when it comes to Trump is his mother. So I want to talk about her today. I believe that she was likely a horrible person, because she most likely would be who raised him, right? That would have been his primary caretaker. Was she not attentive enough? Was she a bigot herself? What's the deal? What's the deal? That's what I wonder about. What we do know is that it seems that, like, you know how Trump basically purchased his first and third wife? I think that's what his dad did when it came to his mother. Okay, so she was probably treated like shit by Trump's father. So she might have been a fairly bigoted and hateful person, just as a means and a way to vent. She might have treated other people badly. That might be why Trump thinks it's okay to treat others badly. He probably witnessed his mom do that. Definitely, she probably wasn't very educated. I think Trump went to some decent schools, but I think that his grades were probably just purchased for him. I just can't, he never should have been president. I do think he knows what he's doing to a degree, and that's what's scary. I think that he is just one evil son of a bitch. One evil person. He knows what he does seem to understand and seem to know is how to buy a person off. He does know how to do that. He does know how to buy off his enemies and turn his enemies into allies. Only thing is, I don't think his pockets are in actuality as deep as he presents them to be, and I think that is what's going to be his ultimate downfall. So, ugh, he's just such a despicable person. I don't even want to talk about him much anymore because he's so gross. He really is. It's like when you just look at him, you just think, ugh. And that's why I think, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people are like, oh, poor Melania. No, not poor Melania. I think she's nasty. That's what I think about her, because how can she sleep next to him? Can you imagine what he would look like naked? Ugh. I mean, ugh. She's gross. She is just gross to me. I think she's gross. I think that she is just fine with his racist rhetoric, because I think that she herself is a white supremacist. I think that she is. I think that because of that interview that I have with that dude who photographed her naked. It's on my YouTube. Prince Jarl de Basville, because he embodies certain politics, and just the fact that she was hanging out with him back then, and now we're looking at a certain political environment today, I think that she encourages this racism, really. We'll find out in time what's going on with that bitch. But I don't like her. I don't even think she's pretty. It's amazing to me that you have these racist Trump bigots on social media consistently talking about Michelle Obama, right? They're like, Michelle Obama, that's a man. She ain't no man. She looks incredibly womanly. For one thing, she was an athlete. She definitely has curves. She's not a man. Anyone who says that Michelle Obama is a man might as well just make their everyday uniform a KKK outfit, okay? Now, Melania, I think that the reason that those nude pictures might have been released was to dissuade any rumors of her being a man. Because who does she look like? Caitlyn. Bruce Jenner, who became Caitlyn Jenner. You put those two side by side, I'm not even sure if whether that's Melania or Caitlyn standing next to Trump half the time. Okay? With those new pictures, she does have her hand quite often strategically guarding her vajayjay. But is that really a vajayjay under there? I want to see the spread eagle shots. That's the only way I'm going to be convinced that that's not Caitlyn. Okay? Yeah, I said it. Some people are like, don't bully her. Please. And you know what? It's not that big of a deal, but it just kind of shows what kind of person Donald is. He can't get a regular woman. He can't get an American woman. And that's another thing. Why are these Trumpers so for him, being that he could not manage to get an American woman? You can tell a lot about a guy by his relationship. That's why everybody likes Barack Obama, okay? Because Barack Obama has a good marriage. He has, he's happy in his relationship, and that's relatable. That's nice. That's really what life is about. for a lot of people, at least, to have a, you know, a happy marriage, have a good relationship with your kids, all that kind of stuff, right? But that's not Trump. Trump is not that person. He's not someone who has any, he can't keep any women because he's so horrible, you know? So why would anyone think that he would have been a good president? Not me. He's got issues. He's weird. And that little sidekick of his, who, and I really didn't need to see what I saw. That's Steve Bannon. Oh my God. Bannon and Trump are probably friends because they're very similar, and they both have a history of not being able to keep their wives. Bannon's gone through like 3 marriages. But yeah, for those of you who have not seen that Steve Bannon piece conducted by Candace Owens, even though you don't want to look at him, you should watch that interview, because it was very educational. Actually, it was very educational, but it really showed exactly how evil Bannon is. Okay? And I hope to God he didn't, like, sexually harass or try to push up on Candace. Ugh. That sure as hell is like the first thing that I thought when I saw that shit. I was like, why is he around that girl? Get away from her. Get away from Candace. You nasty old man. Straight off the goddamn Civil War plantation, trying to live out your weird ass fantasies on the political stage. Ugh. He's so gross. He's so gross. I have been very depressed in a way. Not overly depressed, like I'm still functional, of course, but just very saddened by these mass shootings. Because there's been so many. I mean, this isn't normal. It's just not. And I don't know what's going to have to happen. I think that, well, I just hope nothing else major happens anytime soon, because I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to take it if it does. Oh, it's like I'm kind of even afraid to read the news now, because I'm afraid, like, you know, I'm going to see like, oh, another mass shooting. Because really, I think the goal is to make the Latinos and the Latinas afraid to enter America. That does seem to be the goal. That's why I was a little upset with MSNBC for even reporting that the people in Mexico are afraid of what could happen to them if they cross the border. So, you know, I think that is the goal, to make them afraid. And if the white supremacist terrorists realize that a bit more, they're gonna do more terrorism. So, yeah. Women are mesmerized by Cory Booker. No one's mesmerized by Cory Booker. Who's mesmerized by him? A lot. I shouldn't pick on him, but I am. I think that he would be a good candidate for Botox, actually, because it would relax his facial muscles. Because a lot of times, and I don't think he realizes that he's doing this, but when he's speaking, for some reason, a lot of times it's like he's just frowning. And then the way his jaw is made, because I think he's a pretty big guy. I'm not sure how tall he is, but he seems to be a big guy. I think he played football or something, but he's kind of like, you know, and I feel like he's gonna like turn into the Hulk at any moment because of the way he is. You know, he's weird. He's crazy. I think he's nuts. But he's trying, but he's gotta learn to relax a little bit, just a bit. And again, I could be thinking this because he's just not as smooth as Barack Obama. You know? It's going to be hard for any light-skinned black guy to run for president unless he's as smooth, if not smoother, than Barack Obama. I'll just say it. It's true. Because Obama set the standard, the bar, so high. That's what happened. So now I look at Cory Booker and I'm like, you're just not up to Obama's up to par with Obama. Next. Maybe he can, like I said, he could be 2028, 2032. He's got to work on himself a little bit more and stop with this, you know. That's how I feel. Well, I might work on this a little bit more another day. I guess this was more about my opinions and my frustrations than anything else. I'll show you what I got going so far. There you go. That's where we're at so far. If you're curious as to my other art, you can always go to alexandraoriginals.com. I'm going to eat some dinner, and then I'm probably going to do some work later this evening. But it was nice coming on here. I'm glad I managed to get this YouTube streaming working properly on my iPad. And I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.